What's happening on the border right now with human trafficking?
Human trafficking is a special has a special place in my heart because I'm a subject matter expert in the investigations of human trafficking and victim identification. And I never in my life had thought I would see the ability to be able to not just smuggle a human being, but traffic a child or a human being so freely. Because that's exactly what's happened under this administration. We had 400,000 unaccompanied children, and 100,000 of them have been lost through the process. Health and Human Services giving them up to sponsors. I personally have seen them on airplanes, have flown with a child accompanied by a man that's not their father. It's some stranger, possibly an NGO member. I question them. They have no idea who the child is. They're basically delivering this child to an address in Gainesville, Florida, or anywhere throughout the U.S. And the ability to not do anything about it and sit in that airplane with them is very frustrating, to say the least, because I arrested people that did this. It's illegal to do that. Plus, the exploitation of that child. We have no idea what's going to happen to them. Not only is it, there's a lot of sexual exploitation, that's the main one, but lately has become labor, a lot of forced labor. And there was a big case in Florida where 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds were working at the slaughterhouses and the chicken farms. And so human trafficking is probably at its worst, but at its best for the cartels because they're making billions of dollars in that industry.
Okay, how are they making billions of dollars? We just saw some pictures here of children coming through. These children that are coming through the wire here, these look like 8, 10-year-old, 5-year-old, obviously young. How many do you estimate are coming through that are not with family? They're not coming in here and setting up and living as a traditional family. They're not coming through with their parents.
At least 400,000 of them.
400,000?
Yes. So what happens is this child is identified as an unaccompanied child,
right,
and is now taken from Border Patrol custody to Health and Human Services. Health and Human Services then has their job is to initially house them, take care of them, and then reunite them with a family member. But here's the problem. Those are just the ones that they know of. There's so many of them that this administration doesn't want them held in cages. They don't want them held because it doesn't look good. So they get them. The pressure is to push them out, move them out quickly. So Joe Blow in Chicago and so in LA and so in Miami says, I'm the sponsor for that child. Okay. So Health and Human Services makes the arrangements and gets that child to that household, to that apartment. The problem, Dr. Phil, is that there's no vetting of that person that's receiving. Could be anybody. And the reason why we know that it happens is because we have actually arrested people in California. It's a sex offender that asked for the child. And luckily we found that one. But these children sometimes are reunited with the family. I don't want to get that wrong. Sometimes we do reunite them with their family members in the U.S. But first of all, we have 100,000 of them that are lost. We have no idea. We don't have a record of where they went.
What do you mean lost? We had a record, but then we don't know what happened to them?
We had them. We came in. We don't know where we put them. We have no idea where these children are.
That's a city full of children, 100,000. That's a city.
It's disgraceful. It's what it is. And what's more disgraceful is the conditions that these children are in. Now, if you just common sense would tell you that a child needs schooling, medical care, shelter, a lot of things that might not be provided to them.
Well, how long do they have them before they're lost?
Very quickly, maybe a few days, a week, sometimes a month, depending on how quickly they can move them out of the custody from Health and Human Services. ORR is the other office that you won't hear a lot of people talk about. Office of Refugee and Resettlement has a big role as well in moving people along, family units.
So these children we're looking at are coming through the wire. They're obviously unaccompanied. So they come through, they're unaccompanied. So they take them and put them where?
Initially, it's Border Patrol.
Right.
And then because they're a minor, then eventually they'll go to Health and Human Services or ORR, Office of Refugee and Resettlement.
And where do they
Office.
put them?
They have facilities all across the border, even inside in Houston, San Antonio.
Well, are these cages?
These are facilities. No, they're not. They're
Bunks?
nicer facilities. A lot of them are pop-up, soft-sided facilities that you've seen.
Tents,
and they go in there, take care of them, feed them. They get medical care, but they don't want them there that much because political reasons or whatever. And then they ship them out. So they have a list of where is this child. A lot of these kids sometimes come with the address written on their forearm, or a piece of paper that says I'm going to Dallas, Texas, or a phone number written on there, or on the wristband that they're wearing. And that's the only indication that Health and Human Services has to go on.
So that may be a family, or it could be a cartel.
We don't know who wrote that number on there. We don't know. It could be the family. It could be for nefarious reasons that the cartel gave this 5-year-old kid. I've seen him so many times. Here's an address and phone number, and that's what they use. And so that's where we're going to send this child. We have no idea who lives there.
Well, how's the cartel making billions of dollars off of these children?
Several ways. One is through the smuggling, which is different than trafficking. I want people to understand these are two different violations of law.
Okay.
There's a smuggling fee as a one-time fee to enter the United States. The cartel doesn't care if you walk up to Border Patrol as a give up and turn yourself in, or if you want to go undetected as a got away in the back of a tractor trailer. You still have to pay them the fee. So they're making thousands of dollars now. It's different prices for different nationalities. Chinese nationals, Eastern Europeans, Africans are the ones paying the most right now. I did a big Chinese smuggling case from China through Mexico to New York. This was years ago. And the Chinese nationals back then were paying $40,000 or $50,000 per head, individual.
Where are they getting that money?
They get the money.
Where?
The illegal gets the money, usually from family members. Usually it's borrowed. Usually they sell a property, but they get the money.
So it's their money.
Well, not necessarily there now.
Well, they're not getting it from the cartel.
Sometimes it's owed. No, not from the cartel. What's happening now, Dr. Phil, is that the cartel, because there's been millions of people coming through, some don't have the money to pay. So the cartel says, that's okay. That's fine. You owe me that money. And I'll give you a perfect example. I talked to, and I think I might have given you this example before. This young Nicaraguan kid owes them the $8,500 fee. And when he's in Minneapolis, which he is right now already, in Minnesota, is paying them $1,000 a month with a $300 penalty if he doesn't pay it on time. And now the cartel owns them as a indentured servitude type situation. They will use that child to do what? What is that child going to do, that young man, to pay back this debt? Well, you have to sell fentanyl, enroll in the local community college and sell meth, help us smuggle others. Down at the border right now, you have illegal smuggling illegals. You have U.S. citizens, you have grandmas, you have gangs, you have everybody coming to the border, picking up and transporting. That's the smuggling part. That's a lot of the chunk of money they're making.